Hi, welcome to this series, Parenting with Purpose and African Wisdom, where actually we are going through my book with the same title. Now, we work with parents as well as individuals who are struggling with various challenges in life, mental health challenges, behavioral challenges, relationship issues. And some of the people we work with are parents in distress who come to us saying, my children or my child, I don't know what to do. And so we encourage parents to do their best to be intentional. And some of them actually are doing okay, but they doubt the okayness of their parenting skills, because they say, well, I may be doing very well, but what about if my neighbors, where my child goes to visit, or their best friend, they come from a family which does not share the same values as my own? What do I do? And remind parents that actually what matters most, research indicates, is how you raise your child and the values you ingrain. The values you give them become like eyeglasses to view the world. They gain strength to live what they have learned at home against what they may find out there. So just take strength and learn principles of becoming the best intentional parent you can be. So this chapter we've been talking about prayer. Prayer as one of the big principles of parenting. And we conclude the chapter with a case study of prayer in parenting. So listen to this case study and see if you can see yourself or your child here, or maybe your neighbor's or friend's child. Munene was the last born of 5 siblings. When he was 13 years old, his parents separated. After separation, one of his brothers stayed with his father, while 2 girls left with his mother. None of the parents seemed to want him, and so he was taken in by his unmarried auntie, his father's sister, who became like a mother to him. Having no children of her own, Auntie Lydia loved the boy as if he was her own child. However, the more she cared for him, the more he acted out. By his 18th birthday, the young man had been expelled from several schools for poor performance and truancy. He was often angry and oppositional. Several times, he was caught smoking cigarettes and keeping company with boys who broke school rules and bullied new students. Auntie Lydia was always called to school to meet with teachers who declared that they had done all they could for Munene. Eventually, the young man dropped out of school altogether. He often shut himself up in his room, refusing to shower and to talk to anyone. Someone referred Auntie Lydia to a psychologist and a specialist in working with troubled young people. All through the years of struggle, Auntie Lydia, a prayerful woman, never stopped asking God to intervene in the life of her troubled nephew. She also hoped that the psychologist would be a believer in God's power to change and transform lives. During his sessions at the clinic, Munene poured out his anger as he shared with the psychologist. He talked of feelings of rejection, voicing the question that had plagued his troubled adolescence. Why did my parents reject me? He wondered. Why did they start fighting as soon as I was born? He went on to narrate that from early childhood he had never known the love of his father. The older man never as much as played with the boy, often seeming to avoid him or behave as if he was not in the room. What did I do to earn his hatred? Wondered Munene. The young man harbored deep feelings of low self-esteem, perceiving himself as a non-entity. This is because his father behaved as if he did not exist. Then my mother, mused the youth, I can understand a man rejecting his son, but why would my mother throw me away? Auntie Lydia prayed without ceasing, and the therapist continued to work with the young man. Eventually, Munene was strong enough to sit for his high school examinations from home. Therapy continued several months later. When the high school results were released, someone sat with him as the results came, just to make sure he was strong enough to receive the result. But you know what? Munene passed very well and was admitted to join university. Auntie Lydia threw a large party to celebrate this milestone, and women from Lydia's church showered Munene with gifts. He cried as he felt so much love and acceptance from these mothers. Over the years, Munene went on and graduated from university with a degree in economics. By now, he was quieter and more peaceful. At university, he had joined the Christian Union group and eventually began to worship in his Auntie Lydia's church. He also volunteered to work with young people, especially targeting youth that were troubled like he once was. Now, Munene never discovered all the answers to the many questions to his life. However, one day, in his young adult years, he learned that his mother had been unfaithful, conceiving him out of wedlock. So his father's rejection was actually a projection of anger against the product of an unfaithful union, and his mother's negative response was a result of her shame and guilt at what she had done. Munene was a constant reminder of her adultery. At the end of the day, the young man grew up as his auntie's son. He loved her so much for her patience and believing in him. She, in turn, thanked God for answered prayer. She often mused how easy it would have been to give up on Munene, but somehow, God gave her the strength to hold on. Friends, that's the role of prayer in parenting. Holding on, persistence, tenacity, wisdom where we need it, and becoming the adult so that the child has the freedom and the strength to grow up through the challenges of youthfulness. God bless you as you go on parenting with God.